So we're now moving to live radio production in the clouds. Mikko Nevalainen from YLE. Mikko started as a script editor, assistant director on TV Sports News in YLE. From TV, jumped to the audio side as an audio engineer. 15 years ago, he jumped to the IT department. Serial jumper, it's good. At the moment, he's working as a development manager for audio-related IT systems. Mikko, the floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. We have been talking a lot about how the software will come and enhance the broadcast industry, and I'd like to start with the live demo. Just very shortly, this is an actual environment in our YLA premises, and I will show how we do it. Okay, now we have a playlist. Okay, there is already somebody playing something out. Okay, and there comes an announcement that they are just testing the same system. And I can now connect to this immediately live here. Sound should go, something should be played out here. Oh, oops, sorry. And then I just push the talk button and I'm online there. And it's streaming to our going on broadcast. So this is the next step, I guess. But to the presentation. Okay, now you have seen the actual very short version of the demo, what we have been building up. And I have a name for this invention kind of thing, that is radio studio as a service. This is something that has been dressed out earlier, that we don't have any more heavy broadcast stuff, that everything is as software or on APIs and stuff. And well, about why did we do it? In Yle, as I guess in everywhere else, are in the same situation, that all the old broadcast facilities are getting older, and all our bosses are looking for where to make some savings. And when we are thinking about, we have about 33 radio channels, and everyone has an own studio with the heavy infrastructure, cooling, electricity, hardware, and so on. So when we have another project going on, which is called the Radio Path, and there we done some work with the very heavy infrastructure. We have our own media network, and everything was very tied to this infrastructure. We have a touchscreen front-end UIs where we could control everything in this this bigger project. But as it comes to the flexibility, it's more about how to connect audio signals from inside the media network. And at the moment, you can't take that with you, with the studio, if you want to go, let's say, in a mobile situation or something like that. So we had made some development to that project, and we started to think that maybe why we should have all the big mixers and infrastructure if we could have everything as a service or software. And that was the first step that we started to do this experiment. And in the experiment, we have this vendor who has been making the playout system for us in this radio studio environment. They made for us an API that could be used so that it takes care of the mixing, the rundowns, and everything, the live contribution, in the one software. And when we made, this was of course very interesting because instead of a big studio, you could have the studio in a laptop with maybe some extra I/O for the audio, but that can be very, very lightweight use of a studio. How we did this? The first, we have two demos. The first was built on the AWS cloud, and the Jutel built us for a service for us that could be where we could use ready-made materials and contribute live in the system. The concept proving instance was hosted from Ireland. It's quite long away from Finland, so there are some latency stuff here. What we did, we just logged in, uploaded some music and stuff, and start playing the playlist and contribute live. In the end, we had in the cloud we had the production system, which has all the media management system, mixing services, and publishing services on the first demo. What we studied there was, of course, how the delays worked when we have a quite long way from Finland to Ireland, as understood. Then we did study how to contribute from different locations inside Finland, of course, and how the mixing our sound and the ready-made audios worked in the software environment. Then we studied also the end result, which was in this part of the scenario, it was an IceCast stream that was produced from the mixing together the live elements and the prepared elements. And here is the picture of how it's done. In the cloud, there is the database and the playout units and audio converters and so on, and the backend services. And when you open the web service address, you can use all this functionality. Then the second phase. When we have this first demo was quite successful. We have only in few weeks built up the demo instance and noticed that it can be used for, it was quite promising, so we could continue and start to try out how it would actually work in a real production situation. So as I will come a little bit more, tell you about the delay stuff later here, but what we did change to, well, actually we built the backend to our own on-premise platform because it was more secure and there was already the VPN tunneling if you want to come from the outside of our premises, so it's more secure in that way. And from the demo, we had feedback and we made some small tweaks for the UI and streaming quality, which was not, because it was so fast and stuff, it was not ready for production. And then we made some changes of as I already told about the whole overall concept. We lost the IceCast server and started using instead RTP streams from the playout unit. And the idea was to make so that we have one workstation at our remote site where the stream is going, and from that it was going through the traditional studio network and to the FM, so we could actually listen to how it it's sounding in the actual radio, FM radio side. So the results. The overall usage, well, we didn't have much time to do anything, but when you build up to the cloud, you have immediately see the results. So the user interface itself doesn't suffer from delays. That was very fast and promising. There was a monitoring stuff built inside this service so that you can listen what is going out from the playout unit so that it's do mix-minus mix so that it doesn't go around the sound. And at the first phase, the delays were about 400 milliseconds or something like that. And that was something that we could live with in a single operation situation where you just tell something about music and start playing the next song. And so there is no problem there with that kind of delay. And also if you have, let's say, one people to interview, so that's a kind of delay that we have used to have in phones and so on. In this first demo, we noticed that when we have many contributors to the same event, the delays were multiplying because they were going always through the back end. So at the end, we have 3 contributors, and the third one has about 2 seconds delay from if somebody was asking from him something and he answers. So that was quite not so very well working. In the second installation, delays were much smaller. Well, I guess it's because we were on our own on-premise platform, so there was not so much public internet between as in the when we have the instance in the Ireland AWS cloud. We have delays. I tried in the home Wi-Fi delays. They were between 10 milliseconds and 310. Then we did tried out in the 4G network in the mobile situation, and there the delay was about 60 milliseconds to 1,100 milliseconds at the worst. But it changes a little bit depending on what is the network situation at the moment. In the in-house network, the delays were there was no delays or something like 30 milliseconds. We also studied which kind of devices would be good to use with this kind of service. And we tried with tablets, with Samsung Galaxy, iPad, mobile phones, and a laptop PC and a Chromebook. The best result, as you can see there, was with the PC, traditional PC and a Chromebook. But we noticed that there can be some hardware issues depending on which kind of firmware the PC does have or something like that. With tablets, we have both hardware and software version issues because the Chrome versions which this is built on are not the same in the tablet world or mobile world. So something was working and something was not working, and there were this kind of a little bit challenges. And the other challenge with the mobile was that we didn't have an optimized UI for the small screens. It worked with the tablets, but when you have a 4-inch screen, it was it was not, well, it's work just to be done, the future. So, continuing, about the cloud. In the other, well, not in this particular demo, but in the other cloud demos we have had some issues with the regulations and copyright stuff. They can be sometimes complicated if you take some content to the public cloud that doesn't. You have to be careful with the rights, so that can make a little bit challenges also, depending on the. There can be services that has already taken care of this, but in this situation, this can be a challenge. The firewall was a little bit challenging for us at the first demo because when we had in the public cloud, we couldn't use it from our inside house network because of the firewall and other way around. So you have to make a lot of changes to the firewalls that if you are going to use the public instead of an in-house solution. As a result of this, we built a second demo to our own on-premise instance, so we had no issues with the firewall because we used the VPN connections there. And so it's problem solved in that way, quite straight and simple. No need for tweaking the firewalls. But there is, of course, some delays can be more when you are using the VPN. About the delivering, the IceCast streamware server was quite easy to implement, but it's an extra moving part, and there was more delay, of course, because there's one decoding, encoding phase in the network, in the chain of things. But it doesn't matter much when you are thinking about that you are doing an output stream. If it comes with the delays, that is not an issue, because the issue is just when you are trying to monitor your own live stuff. And about the delivering, on the first demo, we've focused on the concept that is it actually working or not. So the mixing quality and the sound was not in the testing focus at the first demo. With the latest installation, there was an improvement with the sound quality, and the vendor had some time to make some adjustments there so that the sound quality was actually very usable. And we changed the output so that it's an RTP stream, and you can configure the destination. So it's configurable. So you can, let's say, you can actually send it wherever you want, because it's just an IP address. About the workflows, this is something that has to be dressed out, that we have an assumption that how this is going to be used, and when we made the demos, we noticed that, well, our assumptions were not so close to the actual real life situation. So what our users were thinking about this, it would be a nice kind of pop-up radio service that you can instantly build and start delivering from, let's say, some festivals or some sport event that doesn't have room in the FM network situation. The users were interested more about the outdoor production situations. This can be used, but we haven't yet done a lot of work with the mobile situation, but it's quite already near there. As a lightweight studio, some work was needed. We put some more automation for the UI. For example, if you are a journalist or DJ, you don't want to adjust the levels all the time, so there were auto ducking and stuff when you start to talking, that you just you don't have to concentrate to the balance if you are speaking same time when the song is playing. So just when pushing the talking button, it's doing the auto duck. So you don't have to take actually care with the touchscreen mixing system, because that can be for the DJ or journalist, it can be a little bit extra work to work with the faders all the time with the touch screens. Another thing was, which I already mentioned, was that we need some special UI for the mobile phone. So if we like to use it in mobile world. Something that we have been also discussing that this would be nice to use is that if we have that we can expand the services for some events. If the FM capacity is not enough and it doesn't cover all the needs, so you could have some, let's say we have in Finland we have this ice hockey matching day where they are contributing from the several places, and now they are deciding, the journalists themselves, that now they are going to this site and now they are going to that site. But if you could, for example, say that they are all live and you can choose that I will listen only to this match because they are there and they are contributing all the time. But in the FM you can follow the different location live in that way. And of course the contributing from several locations is something interesting, that you don't have to be actually in the same physical places with the, if you are doing a duo thing in the radio show. The other guy can be in practical everywhere, anywhere. We did the experiment with the latest things with the 3 contributors, so that one was 50 kilometers away from the server, and the second was 25 kilometers away. That was me at the beach, in the sandy beach. And the only problem was that my laptop was getting a lot of sand from the beach. So the delays were very good, but I guess it depends on in Finland the network is quite good also on the public side. So we could talk like if we could have a conversation in the video conference, so there's no notable delays. And okay, and the one was using the home Wi-Fi. So this has opened my eyes, I would say. About the browsers, this is interesting, because when you're thinking about that everything is built on the browsers, then the next issue is that which browser versions you are using. We have already have some issues because Google or whatever browser you have, they are making lots of changes, and you have to be very careful when a new version is coming, that everything is working after that. For example, we had WebRTC related issues with the Windows Chrome 74 and 75. That has been addressed out last Friday. We had the new version. But these are the challenges when then. Well, this I mentioned earlier, that on the mobile devices there are different versions of the Chrome browsers, so that it can act differently from what you see in the laptop environment. And then you can have a situation where everything is not working as expected. Also, usually we do have at the moment 32-bit version of the Chrome in our infrastructure, but for this trying out we found that the 64 bits is absolutely you should go to the 64-bit if possible. So as a conclusion, we have to check whenever there is coming a major browser version that it's functional with all the good new stuff, and it works as before with the services. But in the end, if you have a browser server-based solution, it's much flexible compared to native clients, so that this is quite obvious that you don't have to deal with how to deliver the packages to the user workstation, and because everything is centralized and so on. And you can have the updates very fast and short because everything is centralized. For example, if we have an issue that we have noticed at the morning, maybe we have a fix already next day. So, and before we have the native clients, we have to wait for 1 year or something like that, because the delivery of the fixed packages is a quite heavy and time-consuming thing when you have to test everything out. Key takeaway, well, I would say that the flexibility when you are using the web service system architecture is something that is expanding, and it's a very good thing. You are not tied to heavy infrastructure and hardware. You are just building the service, which is actually the thing that the users want to build. They are not interested in how big servers we have or what is the capacity behind everything. But don't lose the good old studio session. I used to be a sound engineer, and as you have maybe noticed that podcast and the mobile listening is building up a lot, and when you listen with the mobile phones and with the earplugs, the sound quality, you hear actually much better every mistakes and stuff, so the sound quality has to be quite good. And this is something that when you, let's say, if you want to make a podcast, it's not just that you take a mic and start speaking and then all the software takes care of everything. No, you need a good place with a good acoustic and a plan and everything. And it's even more critical nowadays because the competition on the podcast side, it's also quite hard. And if you do it badly, then you are not. It's not going to be consumed by the end users. Oh, and here are some pictures of our. And this is the sandy beach, and there is my studio in the backpack, and there is actually the setup we are using. It's the same laptop here, and we have this small mixer unit that is you can listen directly your own mic, so you don't have to worry about your own sound delays, and you can you can mix together what is coming back from and going out. So, thank you.
Thanks, Mikko. Very interesting. Loads of questions coming in on this. So if I press this button here. So do users prefer this new setup to a traditional studio, and has training been easier than with a traditional setup, or too early to know?
This is it's a big change to come out of the studio, but this can be used already inside the studio as well, and that's the flexibility, because you can have the control can be everywhere, and you can have the play out. It can be with you, or it can be in the centralized position. So the user are liking this. We are using the same interface in the actually live at the new bigger studios, and the big change is that the both it's a duo broadcast situation. They both have the control of the playlist. So this was not before. There was always somebody who was the master, and the other was just following.
Okay. Is the system for sale? Who is selling it? There was also a related one further down, I noticed. Is it available as open source?
Yes, it's using. It's for sale. Yes, it's an how do you say? It's a Finnish company, Jutel, which is building this for us, and they are. I guess they will be marketing a lot about this because this is quite interesting.
Okay, so it will be a generally available product.
Yes, I guess during this year.
Okay. Are you using something like SRT or RIST to stream in the cloud? How reliable were the streams?
We were using for the live sound, we are using the web RTC, and it's with the Opus codec, audio codec is the distribution there. And for the actual output stream, we are using the RTC, and that can be configurable. I guess it's just a compressed audio Opus codecs. So I'm not very familiar with this.
Okay.
But there was challenges, of course. network.
Is it only a proof of concept, or have you already deployed this solution for production purposes? Do you intend to move all your radio studios into the cloud?
Well, this is our intention to move everything to the cloud, but I guess it will take some time, from maybe 1 year to 2 years. And we have my colleague will tell you about later on the more heavy studio model, and that is already in production.
Yeah. What mixer are you using?
The mixer that is used in this concept demo it's not a mixer, it's a software. So, you have to ask the Jutel guys. I don't know exactly.
I think that one showed up when you had a little bit of hardware on the beach.
You mean
little box there?
Let's see.
Yeah, the thing you plug stuff into.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll just move on. Does the round-trip delay to the public cloud in Dublin have any operational impact? How large or far away could you go?
That is something that has to be tried out. There is coming a lot of improvement to that, and I know that they are building a solution that you can have the remote contributors so that they are directly connected to each other instead of that the sound is going through the back end. So that can change the situation. But if you are far away, you are far away. That is certainly a fact.
Yeah. And the last one we'll just do is, just jumps around. Basically, what were the OPEX costs for the cloud hosting?
I have to thank in this point we have a sandbox community inside YLA, which gave us 20,000 euros for this experiment, and that's what it has been costing. And because we are on the premise that we build our server, it have 4 virtual servers that they are about something like 50 euros per month. So you can count from there. 4 servers, 50 euros per month, and that 12 times that, so it's 2,400 if I am correctly.
All right, thank you very much, Mikko.